right, guys, so listen. I don't know why. I had this lingering suspicion of Dungeons and Dragons maybe not being that great, but honestly, guys, it is shockingly fantastic. I really enjoyed this film. Dungeons & Dragons follows a charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers who embark on an epic quest to retrieve a long-lost relic. But their charming adventure goes dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. We've got an all-star cast here: Chris Pine, Sophia Lillis, Michelle Rodriguez, regé-jean Page, Justice Smith, and Hugh Grant. So many more, guys. We have such a great cast here, and y'all, listen, I will admit, I'm not a high fantasy type guy, but I do enjoy Dungeons & Dragons. I've played several campaigns, so I know a little bit of the lore, but man, I had a fun time with this movie. It was funny, it was charming, it has so much to offer, you guys. Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, starting out with those two, they are fantastic in the film. Chris Pine brings this charming, fun, curiosity-invoking energy to his character, and he's somebody that you enjoy following throughout the entire film. And man, we gotta talk about Michelle Rodriguez and her character Holga. She is a badass, guys. Yo, listen, I love her as Letty in the Fast and Furious franchise, and she continues to bring that badass energy with her to this role. I want to see her in so much more because Holga is awesome. She just kicks ass, takes names, doesn't take no for an answer, but she's so committed and so heartfelt and so driven. She's amazing as a character. I really enjoyed Michelle Rodriguez in this, and she just imbues this badass energy without even having to say anything. So honestly, I want to see our girl Letty in more stuff. Please put Michelle Rodriguez in some more roles because she just shows up here. Justice Smith does great as usual, guys. I like that they really gave this character a theme of his own, really, and you'll see a little bit more of that in the movie, but I really like what they explore with that character and the lacking confidence and the confidence he needs to build throughout the film. I also like to see Sophia Lillis. It's been a while. I mean, I know her from the It franchise, but awesome to see her in a role. And regé-jean Page plays this awesome paladin. And then you've got Hugh Grant. I mean, listen, play Hugh Grant in anything and I love it, guys. Really enjoy the cast in this film. And the humor, not over the top, guys. It's fun, it's funny. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Shrek. There's some great humor just pasted into this and it rolls off so naturally. That, of course, is due to the excellent direction by Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daley, who did Spider-Man Homecoming and they did Game Night. So honestly, they have a lot of experience with this natural humor that just is so charming and fun and easy to follow. Speaking of easy to follow, this is not a film that is super lore heavy and has all these terms that you can't understand. It really welcomes in non-players of the World of Warcraft. Wow. Non-players of the Dungeons and Dragons franchise. It's easy to understand. It introduces classes, but not over the top in an over the top way. You know, you've got Chris Pine's character who's a bard. You got Michelle Rodriguez who's a barbarian. You got a paladin here, a mage, several mages. Guys, it's a really easy to understand movie and they break it down well in the film. So if you're wondering, do I need to play Dungeons and Dragons to understand? No, honestly, you don't. They really make this easy, honestly, to where it feels like a crossover between Shrek and Lord of the Rings. Because honestly, Shrek, you don't have to read those fairy tales to really understand and enjoy the movie. It's the same thing here. You don't have to go and play Dungeons and Dragons campaigns and things like that to really enjoy the movie. There is so much fun to offer here. Also, I want to get to the technicalities, guys. The production design is fantastic. Every single location they're in looks so massive and brought to life. It's a really good looking movie. Honestly, the visual effects are stunning. I love how the magic looks. I love how the creatures look, and it doesn't seem like they overuse either thing. Like there's not too much magic, there's not too many creatures, but they're well sprinkled in. We do have a druid in this, so the transformation scenes, I like what they do in order to transform this character, who is Sophia Lillis. I like that they kind of like hide her behind stuff to transform, and I like that because it doesn't look weird or inorganic. It works. It totally 100% is believable for me. This is such a fun, epic journey from beginning to end. The story itself is just full of an epic journey. It literally is like a D&D campaign. Almost like there's a game master controlling this, and maybe it's you, the person who's watching, is the DM, the dungeon master, and controlling this campaign. It really really works very well, guys. The music is composed by Lauren Balfe, who also did Mission Impossible Fallout. He's done a lot of great work across Hollywood, and I love this kind of like Celtic like feel to it. You know, Chris Pine has the lute, he's got the little guitar thing. It looks awesome, and honestly, this is just a great looking film, a fun, epic adventure from beginning to end. That reminds me of both Shrek and Lord of the Rings. Like I said earlier, it's fun. It really invites the casual viewer, which for somebody who's not super into high fantasy is what I wanted to see. The humor rolled off naturally, and it had a rapid fire pacing, but honestly, I will say that was one of the issues I had, is that sometimes we move a little too quickly. We don't really get to settle in with the camp sometimes. Sometimes it feels like it's moving just a little too quickly. And while I did like Hugh Grant, I didn't love the Red Wizard villain. I felt like we got a little bit predictable there. But I did enjoy all the performances, and I loved that the story followed them saving Chris Pine's daughter, and of course there's a lesson to be had here in that, so I'm gonna leave it there. But there are some really nice themes of overcoming your biggest enemy being yourself, and then a theme of appreciating what is right in front of you. I love this ragtag family type team. Honestly, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. There's a blend of different styles in this movie that work so well. One thing to note, it did have a couple of action scenes, but I wish it had maybe a little more action. Part of me almost wonders what this movie would look like if it had a R rating to it. Would it have a little more edge, a little more grit that I think that I was looking for? Maybe. I wonder how a rated R cut of this would come out, because I was looking for maybe a little more orc slaying, a little more smashing, but there's this dragon in the movie that is absolutely hilarious. Again, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I know a lot have seen it. There's been some fan screenings. They've been really promoting this very well. I think it can obviously be a sleeper hit at the box office, to be honest. I'm curious to see how it's going to look at the box office, because it could honestly end up being like a hit. So I'm very curious about that. But guys, I had an epic fun time watching this film. There were just so many great things about it. Like I said, while the villain wasn't my favorite, and while the pacing had a little issue, I wish it was maybe a little edgier and things like that, it more than makes up with it, with the fun story, the brilliant cast, the great characters, the awesome settings, and the great music, guys. I really enjoyed this, and the payoff and themes, I mean, the wonderful payoffs and themes are great here, guys. So honestly, if I had to give a rating to Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves, guys, I'm going with an 8.5 out of 10. I was very impressed with this movie. I would love to see a sequel. Not sure if there's gonna be one or not, but hey, if you're watching the movie, stay for the post-credits. There is one mid-credit scene, so you don't have to stay for the entire credits, but there is a mid-credit scene there, and I would love to see a sequel and see this become a franchise. It's great to see Chris Pine back in a fun, good franchise, guys. Reminded me of Star Trek. Remember those times? Reminds me of that. But guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you've already seen the movie, what do you think? What did you think? Did you love it? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Or if you're looking forward to it, let me know on a scale from 1 to 10 how much you're anticipating this, with 10 being you can't wait, 1 being maybe not so much. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, guys. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below, and y'all, we'll see you next time on Geekly Goods.